This is a 2003 Honda Accord. It has a real bad oil leak. When it came in, the whole underside was just completely soaked with oil. So I actually lifted it up and I pressure washed underneath it with some degreaser down there to get all the oil out. So now I'm gonna lift it up and check to try to figure out where that oil is coming from. So this car has just had an oil change and the valve cover was changed. And from what I see here, it looks like it's leaking from the rocker arm VTEC assembly. It's basically an oil solenoid that bolts on there with 3 bolts to the side of the head. So we're gonna change that out and that should fix the leak. Let me get this motor turned off. So here's my new VTEC solenoid assembly. It's got 2 connectors on there. One is for the solenoid itself and the other one is for the pressure sensor. And there's 3 10mm bolts that hold this to the side of the head. We can see it right in here. So the first step is to disconnect both of the connections at the top. That would be for the oil pressure. And there's another one right here. That's for the actual VTEC part. And there's a plastic clip that holds this on here. It looks like it's already broken. So we can just push and move that to the side. And as far as the 3 bolts, they're right in there. I'm using a 1/4 inch 10mm socket on a flex head ratchet. Let's see if I can get a better angle for you. That's 1 out of 3. The easiest one to get to, I'm going to go ahead and loosen it, but I'm not going to remove it all the way. Man, that's on there tight. Here's the old part. It's possible it's just leaking from that gasket. You could probably just get a new gasket on there. But I have a whole new unit all ready to go, so I'm just gonna throw that on. But before I do that, I'm gonna take a look at the gasket surface. There's some residue on there. I'm gonna try to scrape it off with a clean rag to ensure a good seal. Looks pretty clean to me. So I'm gonna throw this on here. Got the bolt staged already. Just gonna throw it in place and just get that bolt threaded in. That's going to hold it in place. I can slide the bolt in the other hole and kind of rotate the whole assembly until it finds its home. And lastly, the bottom bolt. So the key for success here is to get all of the bolts finger tight and then come back with the 10mm tool that you're using and tighten them all equally. Here's my 10mm. This first bolt, I'm not going to get it real tight. I just want it snug. And then I can move on to the next bolt. Get it snug as well. And then now I'm going to come back and put on the final tightening torque on all 3 bolts. Now I've got them all equally torqued, so I can get the wiring harness back in position. Let's see. There we go. So now all that's left to do is start this engine up, get it up in the air and see if it's leaking. There's a little bit of oil there, just residual. Might be a good idea to clean this area again, but I'm pretty confident that I fixed the oil leak. So what's left to do is get the car back on the ground. There's going to be an ABS code because I've got these wheels spinning. The car is in neutral, which is why the wheels are spinning. The ABS code is just going to say something about correlation. So you can either clear that with the scan tool, or you can just drive it and the light will turn off by itself. So yeah, that's that.